Hello and welcome to another edition of Toys from the Attic. For today's episode, I thought we would be taking a look at the re-release of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1998 Crang. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this guy. Okay, so here we have the re-release of the Classics Collection Crang. You can tell it's part of the Classics Collection because of the little logo here at the top. Now, I will admit that I love this box art and how it's trying to capture the feel of the old 80s box art, but it falls short in some areas. I mean, you do have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo displayed right here at the top. You have Krang's name prominently displayed down here at the bottom, announcing who he is. And you also have that feel that he's bursting through the sewer wall. That was something I really liked from the old 80s line, is how, whether it be the good guys or the bad guys, they were just bursting through the wall, ready to attack each other, and you felt like, yeah, I want this figure. He looks like he's going to really kick some ass. The only downside about the box art is there are no depictions of Krang on here. That was something from the original 80s line, is whatever character was being sold, they had depictions of him either attacking one of the good guys or attacking one of the bad guys, depending on what side they were. And that's something I kind of missed. It gave a little bit more personality and kind of showed you who this character was rather than just him just displayed right here. But I can understand if they're trying to save money and sell a lot of these guys and they don't want to reprint all the old logos here. It's just, that would have been one little extra detail that would have made it a little bit more vintage to me. The back of the box also tries to capture the look and feel of the original one, and it does a fairly good job of it. You're treated to a nice little comic book here telling you the backstory and history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and how they came into being. You're also shown the different figures that are actually sold in this line, whether it be Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, Shredder, or Splinter, along with the party wagon that is also being re-released. The only downside is I wish they actually showed Krang, or if they also sold Bebop and Rocksteady. I want them displayed on here so I know I could actually pick them up if I just hunted a little bit better. The only other downside about the back of the box art is that they don't have the little card bio that you could cut out. That was always something nice to have, just so you got a little bit more of an insight of the personality of these characters. It would have been nice to read off the little Krang bio on the back here, but sadly, I guess, like I said about the front, they wanted to stick with one card stock to just kind of save price and just have a generic set of figures on here. So that is one downside. So, well, anyways, without further ado, let's take a closer look at this guy and open him up. Okay, so here we have Krang in his robotic chair walker. Now, most of you probably think of Krang for his giant robotic body. However, every now and then he did take this thing out in the show. I guess it was when his big body needed to be refueled or reloaded with weapons, or he just wanted to take this thing out for a spin. I will admit that back in the day, I didn't appreciate this as much as I do now. I mean, this was the first version of Krang that we got, and I really wanted that giant body that was shown in the show. However, now looking back at it, I can appreciate this thing for what it is. As far as detailing goes, there's not that much. I mean, it was the first Krang that we had, and yeah, they didn't put in as much details as they did in later figures down the line. You got some nice little interesting details and carvings right here for tubing on the side, just to give it that alien robotic feel. The arms have just enough little bits of servos and looking like coils in there to show that they are robotic arms, but just leaving enough for the imagination. The back here is, yeah, it gets very simple. I mean, there's just a base minimum of like carvings in here for tubes and gears. However, it's nice that they put that in there just so that some kid can use their imagination and come up with whatever they want those things to be, rather than just leaving it flat. The little bubble canopy opens up here and you can reveal Krang, and there's obviously some little carved padding in there for him to sit, and you want him to be comfy. Krang, however, yeah, he's pretty much just a head. I mean, you got the nice little carvings of the lobes here and the veins that are painted in blue, so you can get that feel of a brain right there. I mean, I don't know how else to explain. I mean, he's just a head and a brain. The arms can move up and down, and that's just about it. They don't really hold anything all that well. I mean, you can try to put the gun in there, but it's just going to fall out. He's just his little tendrils. Get him back in there. Now, as far as articulation goes, it's very limited. I mean, the legs can only move backwards and forwards along with the knees, which are actually a nice ratchet joint, so they can hold their pose fairly well. You can kind of get them in a sort of semi-sitting position if you wanted to put them in something like the module, or you could get them in this kind of reverse knee pose. It's a little bit more like a chicken walker, so that's kind of nice. It gives it that weird feel. The arms only move up and down. I mean, they're only held on there by this little peg right there, if you can see. And these parts, if they do come off, they can be lost very, very easily. My original one, I do not have the arms, tubing, or gun to this thing. The tubing actually runs from a little hole in here that you just pop it into, and it actually attaches to the gun, although it doesn't always have to stay on there. And the gun, before I go into the gun, the arms are made of a little bit more of a rigid plastic than what I remember from a long time ago. So I am a little bit worried about getting the gun in there and out too many times. I'm afraid I'm going to break off the thumb, or one of these things is going to snap over time just because the plastic feels very rigid. As far as the gun goes, I wish I could tell you the name of this thing. Like I said before on the box art, they originally gave names for these weapons, and it just made it more individual and made that box art just a little bit more unique. So I wish I could remember the name of this, but I don't have the original anymore. The gun actually appears in two different uses. Actually, on the box art, let me get that bit in there. It shows this plunger part attaching actually to the turtles' heads. I don't know if it was to suck their brains out or just give them electroshocks point blank. And the other place that this appeared is actually in the video game, in the cartoon. The gun was mostly held by the foot soldiers and was shown shooting out lightning bolts. So that is kind of a nice little thing that it actually has appeared in the TV show and video game. As far as anything else goes, there's not really all that much to this figure. I mean, you can't really pose them all that well and other stuff, but still, it's a nice figure that can be easily displayed on a shelf and next to your other Turtles figures. And if you're wanting a complete version of the Classics Collection Krang, or maybe just wanting some spare parts for your original one, I would definitely say pick this guy up while you can, because as you know, it's part of the Classics Collection, it's not going to be around forever, and just try to snag it up if you can. Anyways, this has been a look at Classics Collection Krang. Once again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you've seen today, please feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment below in the comment section. Also, feel free to check out some of my other toy review videos. Anyways, see you next time.